Semen retention. A topic that has come up various times, probably not only on your feed, but mine as well. And I notice how many young creators are talking about their experiences with retention or with celibacy or a combination of both. And thus, not necessarily that I feel compelled to make a video on this, but it is part of my journey. It is part of what made this path possible, namely because of a few things. One of them being creative energy. Semen, or male seed, is productive. It's part of the reproductive system. It is half of the equation that produces life, together with a female egg cell. Excuse me if I may not know the proper biological terminology. But what it means to have this creative energy inside of us as men is that we are able to transmute it and use it to, out of others or out of other examples, create content. But it is not only the creation of content, it is also the creation of buildings, creating weaponry, technology, auto vehicles. Probably not the right. I see. But not only that, it's creation of life, creation of infrastructure, creation of connections, of moments, and receiving what we can receive through cosmic intelligence and intuition, and to be able to discern the right moments to be challenging, to live, to be part of and participate in life. That is what we can use our creative energy for. And I see now how prevalent it has become within our society, within the Western culture, of everything just happens so fast. We are living in such a fast-paced modern world. Everything happens at lightning speed. We need internet connection. We need food. We want to feel good. We want to be able to go out and experience things at the tip of our fingers at every single second. Be constantly stimulated, be constantly caffeinated, never having a moment's rest. And with that comes a distinct challenge of withholding yourself from pleasure, withholding yourself from a hit of dopamine. And dopamine is something that has also been thrown around as terminology goes for the last couple of years. But when it comes to our reward circuitry in our brains, but also the energetic capacity that we're able to hold on to as spiritual beings, being able to hold charge or hold energy within ourselves in the form of semen, but also in the form of our breath, in the form of, well, something else that's physical, such as glucose or glycogen stored in our liver and muscles, to be able to hold it and not expend it as quickly as we get it, or even quicker so, it teaches us how to be steady with energy, how to use it in moderation. And hey, grandma and grandpa, hey, they're right. Everything in moderation. And I notice within myself how oftentimes I have failed to hold charge, simply because I tempted to flee from responsibility, from being confronted with my own flaws and challenges as a human being who has grown up and reflected on the challenges and problems that I had as a child. And learning how to overcome those, learning how to master those, has taught me discipline. And at the root of discipline is love. The only way one can hold on to a long streak, and not even for the sake of holding a long streak, but rather learning how to love themselves. Because once you love yourself, once you have been humbled to the point of admitting there is something more than just life here on earth, one will notice that there is life everywhere. And I don't mean only in this lifetime, but in the many lifetimes before, outside of this earth, in the cosmos, outside there in the universe, and within the very source that we're all connected to, which is God, and who is present inside all of us at every time, at every moment of the day. Now, without it turning too much into a religious preaching session, but more so one out of consciousness and belief and knowledge that since we're all connected to the same godly source, we are connected to the same source of love. And when we tap into that, when we humbly admit and surrender to that energy, to that godly source of love, we are able to look inside the deepest parts of ourselves and allow that light to fill those cracks, those caves filled with darkness, filled with pain, filled with blockages that don't allow us to enter ourselves and to connect with that godly source even deeply, even more, or even deeper than we think that we can do right now. To tap into the emotions, the feelings. And it means admitting that we are flawed beings, that we make mistakes, that we sometimes fail. But that duality also allows us to see the wins that we are able to score. And life is not only about losing or winning, it is more so about learning to get up every single time you fall down. Life will throw you curveballs. If you don't swing, you'll never get a chance to hit a home run. That's what it comes down to. And yes, I just used a sports analogy which constitutes losing and winning, but if you don't swing, you might never know what you can hit, whether you make it or not. That's the whole idea behind this semen retention thing. It is learning how to withhold pleasure, not for the sake of punishing yourself, but for the sake of teaching yourself love, teaching yourself discipline, because it bleeds over into other parts of your life. It bleeds over into the way you interact with people, the way you interact with yourself, the way you interact with the world, with situations, with moments, with emotion, with the physicality of our bodies, with spirituality, with the connection to the godly source. It is the very essence that allows us to have evolved to this point in time. And is that very same source of love that allows us to maintain integrity, maintain respect, honesty. And it's tough. It's never easy. It's always going to be tough. But learning how to hold charge, consistently practice it, and at the same time, learning how to love ourselves, that is the key. Those are the keys to truly evolving, to truly raising our vibrational values, and learning how to reach a higher state of consciousness. Because you can think about it as in a way of a bird's eye view. Once we have that bird's eye view, we're able to look down and see how many layers, how deep our growth has been, our sorrows, our emotions, our wins in life have been. It is part of the reason why I'm able to create this content. I do it within alignment of being in connection with God. It might sound pretentious, but that is the very honest truth. And that I believe we can apply to every other principle in our life. Does that mean I have reached perfection? I've reached enlightenment? Certainly not. But I get up to it every day. And it's been an amazing journey so far. I've reached over 200 days this year. And this has been my longest consecutive streak. Has it been a perfect streak? In essence of not orgasming? Yes. Have I peaked? Have I masturbated? Certainly. Am I proud of it? Not always. Am I humble enough to admit that I have made mistakes along the way? Yes, I have. And it has taught me a lot about myself and a lot about the people around me. It is so easy now to, or usually, actually, I would have to say, it is a lot less difficult to discern when somebody retains and when somebody does not. And not that it makes them less of a human being or less of a person or even less of a soul. Rather, it shows me the level of restraint, the level of self-respect, the level of self-love and self-discipline that a person has. And usually, if a level of restraint is very low in terms of sexual energy and lust, it bleeds over into other states in their life. When it comes to food, when it comes to other alternative pleasures, like binge watching Netflix or going out to the clubs. In essence, a lot of pleasure and comfort is surrounded or is enveloped by, or is rather, comfort is the disguise for complacency and fleeing one's own interactions with the darkest parts of themselves. It is very confrontational because once you realize you yourself, yeah, and you alone have the sole proprietor, no, I think the correct word for that is you have the sole responsibility to engaging and confronting yourself with the darkest parts within you, with love and shining love on those parts of yourself. Once you realize that you were probably the one standing in your own way most of the times. It wasn't your friends, it wasn't even your parents, it was you. Because you might blame the world, you might blame everybody outside but yourself, but you alone still carry the responsibility to let go of the pain, to let go of the sadness, to let go of all the negativity that has been shoved onto you, onto your shoulders to carry. But it is up to you to decide, hey, I'm not going to carry this bullshit anymore. I'm not going to carry this pain or this sadness or negativity of anybody else. You choose to let go. And once you let go, it becomes much more liberating, much more freeing, much more inspirational and motivational for yourself to keep pushing, to stay on the path, as narrow as it might be, and to have love for yourself. And that's what it's all about. That's what matters. Is you stop fleeing, you confront yourself, you give yourself love, you let go of the shame, the pain, the sadness, and negativity. And you do that every day. You are consistent. And with that comes control or mastery over your lust. And I'm not saying lust is the devil. Lust is something that comes naturally to us as human beings. It is one of our biological instincts. That's why we are here where we are now as a human species. But also, you and I, after thousands, tens, hundreds of thousands of years of human evolution, we stand here now. We are the very product of our genetic line. And not to push or shove responsibility onto your shoulders, but think about it. Think how much effort, blood, sweat, and tears it must have taken for us to be here. That we are on a probable chance of 1 to trillions. At that ratio that we still stand here despite all that. It's amazing. And that's probably what has also helped me to maintain this consistency, is knowing that I'm loved, knowing that I get stronger every day, knowing that I'm able to create this content and help people around me. knowing that I'm also helping myself and living life gracefully and thankfully. Because this life is amazing. If it weren't for this life, I don't know what else I'd be doing out in the universe. So remember, have grace, be consistent, forgive yourself, forgive your enemies, let go of all the bullshit. And something like semen retention becomes an everyday thing. So don't think about the external rewards. Don't think about, oh, I reached 200 days, so now I'm a worthy human being. No. It's not about being worthy. You are worthy all along. It is the layers that we put onto ourselves, the pain and the shame, that without grace, we won't be able to let go of. So have grace, have love, take responsibility for yourself, and watch yourself bloom. Speak soon.